Yo guys, what is up? It's Teach here, come at you again with another video, and we are here on our Dino a Day review series, and we are over on the Tapajara. We're on Ragnarok right now, by the way. Now I've got two right here. I've got an example one and one that we're going to use to level up. But these are probably my favorite flyer, I think. Maybe the Griffin, I don't know. The Tapajara is still my favorite, because they have so much unique ability. Now, a lot of people totally forget about them. I don't know why, because a good Tapajara can absolutely change a PvP fight, like just single-handedly win it. If you have somebody that's good at driving one, you can single-handedly win anything. Now, you can tame with them in PvE aspect of things. You can hang upside down on walls, you can scout with them, you can do an entire battle with them and never get off. They're crazy tames. Now, before we do that, these are base stats. They're pretty good. There are a couple of things you want to focus on. I usually focus exclusively on health to about 10k. Then I jack up their stamina a little bit. I know on official servers, though, some of the stats that these things are starting to get are just out of this world. And then whatever you have left, crank that into weight, just because you don't want to ever be on your Tapajara, harvest something or something like that, and then have to actually land on the ground to drop some or drop some in the air. Now this is the one that I have already, so we're going to go ahead and hop on this guy because, well, first off, his colors are super cool. Now, obviously, you see he's got a normal tech saddle on him. However, if I switch it while I'm in midair, and I know a lot of people make that mistake, it will jump off, so be careful about that. Now, with a normal saddle, he has 3 seats, and I'm sure you can kind of see him now that I'm on it. Now, the front seat dude faces forwards, back seat dude faces backwards. Duh, that's kind of how they work. And overall, these are pretty easy to figure out. It's great for taming things because you can quite literally kite anything you want. Let's just say, for example, I happen to go over here to find... Now, the Griffin can't even see that I exist. Whatever. Let's say I attack this guy, right? And I just sit here, and I'll go in K mode so you can see. Your buddy on the back, you just have him shoot this thing wherever you want to. Obviously, this works better for tames that get increased damage from the headshots. But you can literally just pepper something and never stop. So Tapajaras are incredible for taming things. Also, because they can fly in a circle like this and they can strafe left and right, that is what makes them an absolutely amazing PvE tame. Now, they are quite fast. They don't have the Tapajara spin move, but they do have, or not the Tapajara, but the Pteranodon spin move, but they do have that same sprint speed, give or take, a little bit. Now, what makes them so unique is they have the ability to move in a bunch of different directions. Obviously, your normal forwards, they can fly backwards, unlike a lot of tames, so you can actually kind of like puff your way out of situations. They can go right, and they can go left. Now, they are really cool for that purpose because they are similar to the Tropic Nathis because they have that multiple ranged motion kind of concept. But these guys also have the ability to fly straight up with a key on keyboard X and then straight down. Now, if you're on Xbox, all you have to do, or PlayStation, you just look straight down or look straight up and it will fly pretty much straight up. But obviously using a key makes it a lot simpler, so you can kind of like figure out what you're doing and rotate in a straight up and downwards motion. But I don't know, that's a really cool concept. A lot of people totally forget about that because you can kind of like puff up in the air while you're going forwards, and like there's multiple commands to like drop and stuff like that, which makes the Tapajara amazing, 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 amazing. Now, a lot of you are like, oh, why are you saying Tapajara? I think that's actually how you technically pronounce it. I'm not sure. But that's kind of how it is. So what is this guy good at? Yes, he can pick, but it's only small creatures. There is no such thing as picking up a medium creature with a Tapajara. You can pick up humans, though, so you can pick people off their mounts using this guy. It's just not something that I would suggest because they have a really quick animation. So it's like one, done. Whereas the Pteranodon, it bends its entire body and takes like 2 seconds. The Tapajara takes a lot longer. Now, obviously, there is a benefit to this, though. In PvE, yeah, you can occasionally pick somebody with this guy, but he has a really cool cone attack. So with the Tapajara, his bite is an AoE attack, just like all creatures, but it's a very large one. So if you look straight down, you actually get a huge range of attack, and you can really chase behind somebody and take them out. It's not that difficult to do, actually. Now, some people have actually made Tapajaras with melee in mind. I've never done it, but I'm sure it's possible because they can keep up with pretty much anybody on the ground. I mean, unless you have like 250% movement speed, you're going to keep up with somebody on this thing, and you can just pepper them with that attack. And they're hard to hit because of that ability to go left, right, up, down. You can pretty easily chase somebody down. Now, obviously, you have to keep in mind that they could run and they could turn left and right and stuff, but it's pretty easy to chase him because this guy is so mobile. The Tapajara is probably one of my favorite tames for that purpose. Now let's talk about where this guy really excels. So we're going to go ahead and hop off because if you change saddles when you're on it, we know the consequence. Now, he has a tech saddle. Now, this thing right here, before we do this, you can do the freak out emotion. It doesn't do anything. A lot of people used to thought this had like a wind pushback. It doesn't. This is your C when you're on the ground. It's like his taunt move when you get too close to me, freaks out and blah, 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 blah. But this is where it gets important. You can do a normal attack, or on PC, if you hit control, you go into his special shooting motion of justice. Now, obviously, it's got travel time, so you want to be able to make sure you can hit this thing. So if you're aiming at an actual tame or something like that, it's not like a rifle bullet where it'll instantaneously hit wherever you shoot. The tech bullet has travel time, so you want to keep that in mind. It's something that can be very powerful, but it's also hard to hit something with, so keep that in mind. Now, obviously, there's a reason that I'm showing you this. The Tapajara's element cannon, if you want to call it that, is really overpowered for taking out structures. So right here, fortunately, I've got some structure. Now, metal, hitting a direct hit on metal, 71 damage. So you could sit here all day and, waste away your element trying to destroy this, or you don't worry about this too much. You aim for turrets and tech turrets because this guy does a ton of damage to tech turrets, especially if you can get in range of them without being shot. A lot of people, what they'll do is they'll have a soaker go like right about here and soak the bullets. It's kind of like a one-way trip for them. And on right behind them, you kind of just sit there. If you can find a stopping point and you just hover and absolutely smash whatever they have. You can see that I'm doing a load of damage to tech structure. Tech does huge damage to tech. That's kind of just how it works. It used to be, I think when it first came out, tech was kind of just invincible, and they kind of switched that around. But you can see 351 damage per shot means that I'm doing a load of damage. So you can just sit here and shred. Tech turrets only have 5,000 health, so it's only going to take you a couple shots to just absolutely obliterate them. But normal turrets have a little bit increased health comparatively speaking, but they do take damage pretty quickly. So you can sit just inside a range and just absolutely shred somebody's base. Now obviously when you want to go destroy the metal, it takes a lot longer, so that's something you want to keep in mind than tech. Tech, obviously 351 damage a shot is very high compared to 70, especially because they have the same health, so it's essentially going to take me, give or take, I don't know, what, 5 or 6 times longer to destroy this. So I'm not even going to bother with it. You see the point. I can walk up to it and show you that I've only taken 10,000 damage. So 5,000, a little more than 5,000 damage off of it. And I've been shooting for a little bit. Now, obviously, if you have a ton of element, I started with 100. I've got 77 now, but I did blast this a little bit before this. So reasonably speaking, use about 13 element to destroy that and then kind of do a little bit of damage here. Now, what you can do, however, if you can find a weak spot in somebody's base, you can actually get a 2x2 hole, fly in with a Tapajara, and now that you're on the inside of their base, we're pretending I just flew into the inside of the base, you can actually do a ton of damage to everything because, believe it or not, tech structures register as wood. Sometimes they register as thatch, and sometimes they register as stone. So, obviously, a tech bullet is going to do a ton of damage to any tech structure. So, and a lot of people forget this, if you actually have flame arrows, you can destroy like teleporters and replicators, because if they barely stick out, you can burn damage them, because flame arrows do burn damage to wood. And it's going to take you some time, and it's a pain in the butt, but you can destroy somebody's tech structures with flame arrows. Now, obviously the Tapajara is going to be quite a bit faster at doing that, so I would personally use the Tapajara if you have the option to do so. But it's also very difficult to actually... Wow, It's like, why am I not hitting that thing? Get inside somebody's base, and they usually have internal turrets, all that kind of stuff, so you gotta be careful. But all things considered, the Tapajara is an absolute monster. I'm gonna go ahead and change my gamma here, turn it up so I can actually see. Gamma 4. Gamma 4 and 2, by the way, are pretty much the safest ones to use if you don't use them already. So basically what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go ahead and blast pretty much everything just to show you that against wild tames, it's pretty decent. But like if you're going up against somebody that has a tamed creature, it's not super useful. The only benefit, there it is because it does splash damage. If you're hitting somebody on their tame, you're going to end up doing a ton of damage to them. Over time, obviously, this is not something that you can do really quickly. You end up doing damage over time, and that's just useful. I guess it's a nice way to put it. So as long as you're doing damage over time, no one really cares. So just keep that in mind. But all things being considered, it's pretty important to realize that the Tapajara is very powerful. And if you don't already have one, you need to go get one, because that ability to gain access to a PvE and PvP tame, making it so that you have a tame that can do a lot of different things, is kind of what I look for. This thing does it all. PvE taming, PvP battles, and like I said, obviously you can probably see, if you have somebody that's really good on one of these things, I'm not great, I'm okay, they can change the entire tide of a larger battle. Alright, anyways, hopefully this video helps you out, and if I missed anything, feel free to leave it in the comments below. Alright, teach.